Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. As I promised you earlier that I'll be covering chapters on history. So let's start the first chapter from history, that is the French Revolution, and let's get started. So Bourbon dynasty was ruling in France from long time. Yes, you guessed it right. The form of government present in France was monarchy. Louis XVI has ascended the throne in 1774 at the age of 20 and was married to Austrian Princess Marie Antoinette. France and Britain were enemies and were indulged in continuous war with each other. Before Louis XVI, his predecessors were also in continuous war with England, which resulted in the drain of royal wealth. And it was because of this continuous war, the economy of France was declining day by day. France and Britain fought many wars with each other, such as Hundred Years' War, Seven Years' War. If you have read the modern history of India, they have fought wars on Indian soil to gain supremacy. We all know that war is not a solution. Apart from that, the cost of maintaining Versailles Palace was very expensive. France was under huge debt. As a result, huge percentage of resources were used to pay interest repayment. Other expenses included maintaining an army, universities, government offices for all. And because of this continuous war, common people in France were facing great problem. So now let's talk about the society existed in France at that time. French society during the 18th century was divided into three categories or states, namely the clergy, the nobility, and the third state. Common people belonged to the third state, made up of about 90% of the population. Being in majority, they were discriminated badly by the clergy and nobility. The clergy and nobility enjoyed certain privileges by birth, the most important of all. In between 1715, the most important of all was they were exempted from paying tax to the government. In between 1715 to 1789, the population of France rose from about 23 million to 28 million. This led to a rapid increase in the demand for food grains. Productions of grains could not keep pace with the demand, so the price of bread, which was the staple diet of the majority, rose rapidly. Most workers were employed as laborers in workshops whose owner fixed the wages, but wages did not keep pace with the rise in prices. So the gap between the poor and the rich widened. Things became worse whenever drought or hail reduced the harvest. This led to a subsistence crisis, something that had occurred frequently in France during the old regime. Why were poor people suffering so much in France? Why was there so much of inequality in France? So this leads us to a simple answer, that is, some sections of the society, that is the clergy and the nobility, were privileged by birth. They were not supposed to pay any tax to the government. Only the third state had to pay the tax. And as we know, the third state comprised of 90% of the total population in France. So now let's discuss who were this clergy, who were this nobility, and who belonged to the third state. Clergy were those people who controlled the church, and they were mostly the bishops, followed by the nobility. Nobility were the landlords. They had huge amount of lands with them in which the third state people they worked over there. And the third state comprised of businessmen, school going childrens, common people, cobblers, barbers, etc. So guys, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Have a nice day.